This is episode 75.
Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Helping you keep your finger firmly pressed on the decking industry, the people in it, and the information you need to master the backyard. And now, host of the Ultimate Deck Podcast, Shane Chapman.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. It's beautiful. It's spring. It's finally happened. It showed up. The winter's done, I think.
I hope so. We might get snow May long. You remember when you'd go camping May long weekend? Oh, which you can go camping now because Saskatchewan's open.
As of May 4th? Is that right?
No, May
19th.
4th is when the reservation system opens.
Oh, I see.
June 1st, you can camp.
Okay. Well, then how are you going to go camping on May long?
Oh, you can't. Well, you don't have to worry about that.
What are you talking about?
No. I was saying that, do you remember when you would go camping on May long weekend?
Oh, and then when you said you can now, you meant at some point.
You can go camping.
It's been announced.
It's been announced. You can camp.
Your wife works for Sask Parks. She's saying, nope, not May long.
Yeah,
I think
no,
we should
you
probably,
can't. No,
we
you
should
can't
probably
go on May
believe
long.
her.
This is how I know this. I have an inside track on this information.
306 VoiceWorks just joined us on Instagram. You know what I think
That's
that is? I
Cam.
believe that's Cam.
Yeah,
right?
it is Cam.
So we're live on Instagram again. This is a thing. We do this.
TikTok.
So that people can communicate and ask questions. So, first off, are you ready?
I'm ready. I got a good one today. This is a good story.
Before we get going, we've been very neglectful in our presentation of the events of the world, or at least in Simcoe County. Let's bring it back. It's what's happening in Simcoe. Here we go.
So we have a Karma project that received a $40,000 grant for emergency food aid in North Simcoe.
What's Karma Project?
Well, I don't know. It's a food program that delivers food.
Oh, that's good.
They got $40,000. They have a $40,000 grant. So Karma's mission is to foster and promote an inclusive, diverse, sustainable, and community-owned local food system through education, cooperation, leadership, and creativity.
I don't know that I need to know that much, but
Right? So basically they're trying to grow food for low cost to feed to people.
sounds terrible.
They're helping at least 250 families every 2 weeks.
Well, that sounds
And so they got some money, which is really good.
It's hard not to get money right now. They're giving it to everybody for anything.
Want to know what else is happening in Simcoe?
Yeah, I do.
They're drinking a lot.
Oh,
The
sales are up at the liquor board.
The LCBO reports sales have gone up during the COVID crisis. So people are drowning their sorrows in beer, wine, and spirits.
So it's good. I don't
Not
imagine that story is
surprising.
too different anywhere.
Not surprising. I'm at home. Why not?
This makes me think, we always talk about the differences in regions, especially USA and Canada, and what we call things.
Right.
I went straight to liquor board there. When
Right.
you said they're selling more booze, I was like, yeah, the liquor board.
Yeah.
I think that's a fairly Saskatchewan term, is it not?
Well, what is LCBO? It's
An
the
off-sale?
Liquor Commission.
Liquor Commission Board of Ontario or something.
Sure.
So, but I don't think that's, Simcoe, Mike just got back from drinking driveway beers.
Yeah,
That's good.
obviously. I could
That's
tell.
good.
LCBO told me so.
So here's a question for the Instagram people that are on there. In your area of the world, first of all, say where you're from in case we don't know who you are. What do you call the place that you buy booze from?
Mm-hmm.
We call them
LB.
the LB,
The liquor board.
Liquor board is the government-owned ones, and then there's the off sales, the LB and the off sale.
Yeah, off sales are private. They pay through the nose for off sale, but your booze
but
is
you
cold.
can get cold booze there.
And
but
it
now
hap-
there's
at 11 p.m.
yeah.
when you need cold booze.
But other places, I think they
Canada.
just call them different things. Because I feel like I've been in Ontario before and said the words LB and somebody's like, what? Oh, the LCBO. Yeah, but I don't care about the C and the O. I'm efficient that way.
Yeah, it's not. That's right. It's not SLGA. It's
Yeah. But liquor board doesn't make sense either. Like,
well, the liquor board controls.
I'm
all
going to
of
go
this
buy some
control
booze
everything.
from the governing body of the alcohol. In
Yeah.
this, like,
Yeah, when
that's
you
what
get
that name
smokes,
is.
when you get smokes, you don't get them from the receiver general or the surgeon general.
Pick up a quick pack from the Surgeon General. Okay, whatever. Let's get on this. Liquor store
stores.
is what Deck Dog says. He also said that schooling your kids makes you want to drink. Hashtag truth. Bryce, you drunk yet? Not schooling your kids? Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So much easier.
No school, no booze. Okay. Anyways, let's get on to it. today we're talking about, there's a lot of decking options out there. Isn't there, Wade?
There is a handful.
There's a couple. But none bigger brand than Trex.
Yeah, but why would you ever buy that?
Why would you ever?
Marketing.
Just because it's the biggest doesn't mean necessarily you should or it's the best. So why would you ever buy it? Well, that's what we're talking about today. So, hey, Bryce, you just joined the live.
What if the...
Feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Trex is the number one brand, and we caught flack for that recently.
Who gave us that?
Some guy. Some guy on Instagram. I posted, it was our Deck Shop Shorts video, which if you haven't seen that, on YouTube, like we're pumping out content like it's the only place people are watching. And so we're putting a lot of stuff up there. One of our series is called Deck Shop Shorts, or as we call it, Deck Shop Shorts. And what it is it's a short format. Like 3 minutes, you're in and out, you're done to learn about some stuff.
That's like Head and Shoulder shampoo.
And so,
in, out, done. Have you heard that?
In, out, done. You're cleaning the table again. What?
Why is it so dirty in here all the time? Right?
Your wife is sitting on her Trex deck right now.
Yep.
I caught some flack because on that Deck Shop Shorts video about Trex, I said, Trex is the number one brand. And some guy's like, yeah, right. And I was like, what is it that you're arguing here? That they're because there's no argument. They are the number one brand.
They just, like, despite the, like, large amount of sales that they have, empirical data, right? Like, if you just take the data.
I'm just saying Ford is the number one selling truck.
No.
Challenge me. Like, it doesn't mean you have to
only
like
bought
the Ford
one.
the most.
I've only bought one Ford. I've bought 3 Chevys.
But the
Chevy's
stats
the number
say-
one. Oh,
and there's undoubtedly that Trex sells more composite decking than anybody else does.
100%.
And if you quiz or poll 1,000 people, Trex will by far be the most well-known brand of all of them. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. Look, Binz is in.
Jamie Binz is in. Speaking of which.
That's a Trex guy.
Trex listens. They're like Google. They can hear when you're talking about him. His ears are ringing. He's joined.
He probably got 4 notifications. Somebody said Trex 3 times in a row and his phone, like, beeped.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, he doesn't believe this stuff works anyway. He doesn't believe in social media working.
It could, though.
Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't.
You know what it got me? You know what social media got me? It got me a new
Cheers.
cup.
Hey? Yeah, so who sent these?
Bob? Gord. Sorry, I said Bob. That's
Gord sent them.
Yeah, Gord is out in Vancouver.
So I guess we made I don't know what triggered this, but he sent us some Trex mugs because maybe because we were using our AZEC ones during the TimberTech episode, and he's like, well, I've got something to send you. And so we didn't put them to waste. We've got our Trex mugs today.
Yeah, and he, when I talked to him, so it says Trex University on there. So we've given Trex a ton of flack for us not being invited to the Trex U.
Do you think this was like he just shipped us a case of irony? Like,
no.
Was this a dig to be like, here's some Trex University mugs because you'll never pick them up in person?
I think he sent it to me because he said that we have an honorary doctorate.
Oh, snap.
That's what he said. I don't know. We'll have to run that past Binz.
That probably holds more weight nowadays than my actual degree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unless, of course, you want to talk about adolescent inadequacies with my psych degree.
Jeez, that got deep.
Right?
There for
huh? Yeah. Nobody's using any
3 degrees in this room, and all we're doing is making stupid videos on Instagram.
Yeah.
We're killing it.
Woo!
Anyway.
Stay in school. You could also have a podcast.
Yeah. Someday. For everybody on the podcast, or not on the podcast, on the Instagram, we have a ceiling in here now. You probably noticed that the lighting was better and the sound was better, maybe. There, Bryce can help me out with that. Look it! We've got a ceiling in the studio.
It's
the
amazing.
sound is better in here. The light is better in here. Yeah. I'm just a happier person overall in here.
Uh-huh.
So
you were in Saskatoon this week.
I was in Saskatoon this week.
Fix that up for you. Boom.
Yeah. And there's no shortage of light in that place, let me tell you.
No, that's right.
Holy smokes.
Okay,
anyway.
What do we have?
Trex.
Do we have a 10-minute rule?
We do have a 10-minute rule.
Okay, so we got 40 seconds to go.
Trex, number one brand in decking. Now, they make composite decking.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst a bunch of other things, but as always, we usually focus on the decking lines. That's what people are really interested in. Nobody's asking us for review chairs.
Cabinetry.
From Trex.
Nope.
So they do offer all those things. Go to Trex.com. You can see all sorts of products that they have, and they're all great. But let's just talk about the Trex decking today.
Deal.
So why would you ever buy Trex? Well, they've got a good wide variety of price points in their decking lineups, like most composite manufacturers do.
Yes.
But Trex is no different. So let's go through this lineup really quick. We'll give you the reasons why you might want to consider each of these lines, what value they provide. And listen, we're all about being like playing both sides of the coin. We'll tell you a few things to know about these things that maybe that's not the line for you. And it doesn't mean that Trex isn't for you, but maybe just that line is for you.
That's right.
I was told I was supposed to go back and look at a comment here from our producer Bryce here. I forgot about that. I was supposed to go back here. Oh, he says E-Ovation's number on board. Okay, well, there's some opinions sneaking into this podcast here.
Oh, yeah.
Deck Dog said that. Anyways, so he's put himself firmly on the shit list from Trex today. I'm not taking any responsibility for that. Guess what you're not getting, Deck Dog? Yeah. Guess what you're not getting?
You'll never have an honorary doctorate in Trex.
He'll probably have one on the way from Decorators here pretty soon, though, I would have to think. So Trex. So last year they brought out their Trex Enhance line.
Meh.
What are you?
Well, they always
now
had
you're disputing my facts?
They always had a Trex Enhance line.
Okay, fine.
Well, that is not to dispute.
The Trex Enhance Basics and Naturals line.
Sure.
Better?
You had those lines in the word? Yep.
Okay, so some context to what that little spat was about right there. Trex used to have...
That's better.
In 2018, Trex's lineup was the Select line at the good level, the Enhance line at the better level, and the Transcend line at the best level.
Correct.
Last year, they put it all into a blender, shook it up, and...
executed perfectly.
What was the good board is the better board. What was the better board is the good board. And what?
Well, they just flopped the two. They just switched Select and Enhanced.
Yes.
That's it.
And then split the Enhanced lineup up. Yeah. But that's kind of weird though, isn't it? It's like,
sure,
this one's not as good as this one this year, but next year, that one's going to be better than the other one.
I would have liked to have been in on that conversation. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the name that everybody already knows, and then we're going to make it less money.
Yeah.
What?
It's like if this year, like GM took Cadillac and started throwing that on Cavaliers,
right?
and then Chevy got onto the Escalade. You'd be like, "What are you doing? That's anyway."
Yeah, it is what it is.
So Trex Enhance. So they switched the lineups last year. Trex Enhance.
So that's only important.
Gen 2 entry level stuff came out.
Yeah, that's only important if you've had a deck that was 5 years old from Trex and you're trying to replace a Trex Enhance board, right? Like your clamshell board caught on fire.
Because most people, the vast majority of the public, wouldn't be intimately familiar with the line names and the colors and everything to be even confused by this at some point. But for contractors, they can figure it out.
Yeah, so, I need a Gen 1 or a Gen 2 board. So
they launched these new boards, these enhanced entry-level boards. They bumped the Select line, like it just kind of became classified a better board, and then Transcend didn't go anywhere. So they discontinued the original enhanced stuff. And that original enhanced line was a good line. There was 3 colors. It had the wood. I thought it was a great value board in that middle price point, but it still had the full thickness and kind of the looks almost of Transcend. But anyways, it's gone. And there's been some debate, not from Trex people. I'm sure they felt they made the right decision, but there's a lot of people out there that think that they made a bad move by releasing these low end boards. I'm not one of them.
Yeah. You know who else isn't one of them?
You.
Everybody else in the industry.
Everybody that
all did that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Trex is like, we're doing this. And then like everybody's doing that.
Yeah. So
it's not that bad.
Here's the way I look at it. A lot of people are saying, oh, they kind of bastardized their brand a little bit. They were high end. What are they doing? Trying to chase these low hanging fruit sales, these low cost, low quality sales, whatever. And all they're doing is with their Naturals line is cannibalizing the Trex Tropicals line, Transcend Tropicals line.
Yes.
Sure, that has probably happened. Like undoubtedly that happened a few times.
Yes.
But I also believe that had they not released those lower cost boards and you had the Trex Select line still being your entry level line at a higher price point
than everybody else
going up against, Fibron's Good Life line and Trex's TimberTech's new Edge lines, then I feel like they were kind of up against it.
Like
they would have just, So did they lose some sales from Transcend to Enhanced Naturals? Yeah, there would have been some for sure. But had they not, that sale would have left Trex completely possibly and gone to somebody else. So
I believe that you and I think it was like you and Jason Varney were chatting about this on Instagram last week or earlier this week, right? And it was just, there's 2 different customers. They make Cadillacs
It's a great analogy.
For Cadillac customers. And they make Cavaliers for Cavalier customers.
And they're both owned by GM.
So
you're allowed to have lines that cater to different markets. It's okay.
Everybody does.
You build decks. These guys are complaining about this. They build decks, and some of them are 10,000 and some of them are 100,000. So what's the difference?
The guys that are complaining on Instagram aren't building $100,000 decks.
Fair enough.
They're busy building $100,000 decks.
They're busy building?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the guy that's doing $100,000 deck.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He's busy.
Yeah. I gotcha. So anyways, with that out of the way, Trex Enhanced, no D, is a great line, I think. It's a good entry-level line. They've moved from being not the cheapest board in our store to actually having the cheapest offering in our store too, for rightly or wrongly, but that Enhanced Basics line is the lowest cost composite board in our store, and we carry 5 brands. And so they've managed to have the best brand name, the most recognizable brand name at the lowest price point. And so of course it's going to sell.
Yep.
So Trex Enhanced Basics got 3 colors in it. It's got that gray, it's got the 2 brown options. It's scalloped. This was a first for Trex in this market in North America to release scalloped boards. And so that was part of the strategy to reduce cost in the board. And it's a strategy that a lot of good companies use.
Yes.
Others use it as well. There's just Trex had been holding out. They had opted in the Select line for a 7/8 inch thick board instead of scalloping it. They just made the board thinner.
Yep.
But with this one, they decided to do the scallop profile. So that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I don't like about their scallop is that you don't have Cortex with it.
Right.
Now, there's some there's not rumors. I haven't heard any rumors, but there's people that are kicking ideas.
Yeah, I started that one.
Did you?
I started it?
Okay. Well, that happened.
If you've heard it was probably just me.
People are kicking around the idea. So that the scallop was different depths, right? They first ran it. The scallop was really deep. And then the argument or the story was that Trex couldn't produce enough boards fast enough because there was such high demand for that. And they had to run it through the extruder slower because there was the
Took
scallops
longer
were
to
so
cool.
deep. Yeah. So they it was crappy. So they had to put more material in there, make the scallop shallower so they could produce it faster.
Yeah.
So they're doing that. I have heard they're doing that because they want to be able to offer Cortex in that board.
Yeah. So,
which is a great idea. That's the only knock I have against that line.
I would be surprised.
Scratch is a little bit easy, but that's it.
I would be surprised at this point now if they didn't release Cortex for it. They got to be at least doing their homework and seeing if it's possible.
If they aren't.
Unless they just decide that they want Cortex to be a value add to go into the higher lines.
Sure. And that's a good business decision. Why wouldn't you?
So the reason to do Cortex for it is that Fibron does Cortex for their entry level line.
Right.
So
TimberTech doesn't though.
TimberTech doesn't.
So are they really paying attention to Fibron, or are they just they're just doing their own thing, right?
Yep.
Trex usually just does their own thing, and they try to lead the industry.
So I'll admit when these new
whatever. You just take your time getting that word out.
Speaking of the LB, hey, new poop do boo. When those new profiles came out of the Enhanced Basics line and the what was that? What are you pointing at?
I think she wants you to bring home her pressure washer.
My wife?
I think so.
That doesn't sound like any fun. I don't want to go home and clean things.
Yeah, bring home the pressure washer.
Come on.
Tell
when
her
the
to
profiles came out.
Send the message in Instagram. Tell her.
Yeah, sorry, babe. I'm talking to my friends right now. When they came out, the scallops were quite deep, and I don't know the measurement off the top of my head, but my guess is that on that 1 inch thick board, I think that the scallops were probably 5/8 deep. There's probably only about 3/8 of material left.
It was half or more.
They were
half.
deep, right? And I remember we looked at them and we were like, boy,
that makes me nervous.
Yeah, we lacked a little bit of confidence in it. It was it seems really deep.
I told people that too. I was I don't know, man. It's their first crack at it, and this is a pretty deep scallop.
Yeah. So and we not that we've had issues with the boards. We haven't, other than there was some little bit of curling at the ends of boards, and I don't know if that's related to the scallops or not. But there was, you'd have to cut the ends off and fasten them down, then it was fine. But that's the one thing we noticed. There hasn't been any issues with the fact that the scallops are deeper. But to your point, not long after it came out, they said, we're way behind in production. If we reduce the depth of the scallop, we can run the extruder faster, and that's going to help us catch up production. So for now, this all came out in a memo. For now, here's what the new profile looks like. The scallops aren't going to be as deep. We're going to run material like this for the rest of the year, and open-ended as to whether it stays like that or it may go back to the original scallop once we get caught up. the inventory from this year has not gone back to the original scallop. But from what I heard from somebody, they have this is what they've settled on now is like the 5th or 6th profile change on this board. So they've tweaked it a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Added a 16th or removed or whatever. So, but the scallops now are not that deep. Like they might be a 1/4 inch now.
They look good. They look good right now.
Yeah.
Like the material we have sitting on the ground and the samples we have, I have a lot of confidence in that board.
Yeah. At this point, like exactly. Any confidence issues I has, like, is that going to perform well or gone? The new scallop is great. So I think if they brought me in, I would say, keep that scallop, son.
And if you have to move the price a little bit, move the price a little bit.
You shut your damn mouth.
No, I'm just like, move it up 8% for exchange. What?
Yeah.
No, it's just like, if it has to be a little bit more, then so be it. Like it's a good look the way it is right now.
Certainly.
I like that they have left the cap alone too.
Yeah, certainly they don't need to be the cheapest board on the shelf when they're competing against other brands. They don't need to be. But the goal of this whole board in the first place was to challenge the price of pressure-treated decking. So if you go to them and say, like, listen, you're at in the States, let's call it, you're at $1.99 and Fibron's at $2.49. They'd be like, yeah, and be like, well, you're leaving money on the table, don't you think? You could be at $2.49 too, and you're the stronger brand. You could win that. And they're like, yeah, we're not competing against them with this board. We're competing against treated lumber. Yeah. And it's at $1. So
or 70 cents.
Yeah.
50 cents. Right?
So yeah, it's weird for Trex to be the low cost one, but because they're chasing the treated. And I would say it's working a little bit, right? It used to be 4 times more, now it's 2.5 times more.
And I had a conversation yesterday or the day before with one of the contractors they stopped in. And I was like, you should be charging more for that, like pressure treated lumber when you go to install that, because it takes a little more work to bend the boards in place, and you got to pick through, and you have to flip them over because of the knots and blah, 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 right? So we were chatting about how they should increase their labor cost on treated lumber installs so that when you go to sell it to a customer and you want to sell them a composite deck, you can do that for a little bit less. The material costs more, and then that helps close that gap too, right? If contractors are moving the install price up on labor.
Right.
Because it is more work. You have to cull through lumber. You got to be like, is this one okay? Is that one okay? And you get callbacks.
And you're putting down
get a
2 screws per joist per board.
Instead of one
clip. So there's a little bit there. I think the fit and the finish, you're expected to be a little bit more precise when you're working with the composite. Maybe that, maybe guys are paying more attention when they do it or something.
Yeah, maybe. But then, so now that all aside, the deck is done. Now you buy $100 gallon of stain, and then you do that again the next year, and then you do that again the next year.
Hey, you don't got to tell me.
Okay. Well,
I composite.
You're converted. Good.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think everybody is probably, right? It just comes down to a budget. It's like, do I eat this month or do I do the...
Well, I think this Trex came to the realization, or maybe not came to it, but just finally acknowledged that, like, hey, what's the point in beating each other up and spending millions of dollars in advertising to try to steal 1 or 2 points of market share away from the other guys, from TimberTech and Fibrons and Deckers, whatever else, when 80% of the market is still wood, and they don't take as much coaxing.
And they don't advertise. You're competing against somebody who doesn't.
So take that money that you're spending on advertising to beat up the other guys, try to steal that 1%, and instead reduce the cost of your board and let that just happen, because customers already want it. You're not trying to convince them. It's way tougher to convince somebody to move from TimberTech to Trex once they've decided they want TimberTech than it is to convince somebody to move from wood to composite, because most people want to go composite, but it's just it's the money thing.
Yep.
So anyways, I think they've done a great job with these colors. The basics line is there's 3 nice options there, but it's limited on purpose, so that there's still value to shop with the other lines. It's like, you can have a cheap board if you like, but you got 3 colors to choose from.
Yep.
Above that in price, but same level of quality, is the Trex Enhanced Naturals.
Great board.
5 colors, same profile, came out at the same time. Only difference is the colors and the streaking, right? 5 different colors.
It's so good.
Tons of variegated streaking in it. Because some of the other brands too, when you start to get into the variegation, it's a little bit, because they save the really colorful stuff for higher in the lineup. But Trex released these boards, and to be honest, I think they've changed a bit over the last year. But now they have lots of variegation in them. Like our display downstairs, that Foggy Wharf is like, there's tons of color flying through that thing.
Yep, you betcha.
So if you're looking for something a little bit more beautiful, you can step up from, I'm going to guess at American prices. I'm just doing conversions and assumptions, but I'm guessing you're buying the Trex Enhanced Basics for $1.75, $1.99, somewhere in there. Mid to high ones. The Enhanced Naturals line is probably going to be about $1 a linear foot more. So we're talking into that $2.50 to $3 range, likely in the US. Could be less. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how much freight we pay to get out up here, but so it's an upgrade. It's a 75 cent to dollar upgrade to get that extra coloring. Now, the colors are beautiful. There's 5 of them. There's kind of 2 grayish options, 2 brownish options, and a reddish option.
Yep.
What would be, so we've given the good things. The great things are the price point, looks beautiful, it's scalloped, like they're amazing for those reasons. Why wouldn't you do Trex Enhance or Trex Enhance Basics, not Basics or Naturals?
No Cortex and it scratches too easy.
Okay.
The cap is a little soft.
So a couple notes.
But that's it.
But that's what you're giving up by not buying Transcend, right? I mean, you got to give something up.
You have to.
You can't get all the best features at a third of the price and still expect there to be a high price.
Yeah. It's like just the same way you don't get like auto dimming lights when you buy a Cavalier. Right. That doesn't happen. The auto dimming lights come on the Cadillac.
Right. Exactly.
So
yeah, the cap on the Enhanced line is not as durable as the Transcend line.
Nope.
So if you've got, and that's fine for most people. A lot of people don't need a super durable cap, but if you do have super large, rambunctious dogs that go out the deck and rip around and wrestle and whatever else, or you got a little Jimmy is just a ball of fire and he plays with real tools, hammers and shit, and he's going to go on the deck and
every time you walk outside, he's swinging a piece of rebar around. It's like, what has happened? How did you even find that?
Then maybe you want something a bit more durable. But that's really the only major knock on it. The fact that you have no Cortex, which for some people they wouldn't care. Again, it's a budget deck, and Cortex is more of a premium fastener, so maybe that doesn't matter. And it's not as durable as some of the higher lines. So there you go. That's what you need to be aware of if you're considering those lines. Outside of that, great boards, great price points.
So what I would say is that if you are concerned about that scratching, I would probably avoid clamshell, right? Because it's a dark board. So much like an interior hardwood floor, it's like if the interior hardwood floor is really dark and shows scratches lots, so is your exterior hardwood floor.
Right.
Right? And so clamshell is going to show scratches more than beach dune. You'll just see it more. And then if you're worried about that, have something that has some variegation in it.
So the Naturals line hides them.
Right? Yeah, because there's something else to look at, right?
Yeah. So it's more distracting. You're not going to notice the scratches when they happen on the Naturals line.
Yeah. Okay, good.
At the same price point
as Naturals
is the Trex Select line. And so Trex Select also has 5 colors. The colors are...
Only 2 are good.
Okay. On to the next.
Well, just talk about the 2 good
They've got a light gray and a dark gray. Those are the good ones?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't think that the brown ones are bad.
Really?
I don't.
Okay.
You don't like them, hey?
Saddle's fine. Woodland browns, I don't like woodland
Saddle brown. And woodland brown. So woodland brown is it's a deep brown purpley color.
It's purple.
It's a little bit weird. Yeah. But to the same point, TimberTech Garrett says good point, Wade. I'm not sure which point he's talking about.
I make a lot of good points.
There's been a few flying around here, so you have to be more specific. That line used to be their entry-level line. The price point's still fine. It's the same as Naturals. It's a solid colored board, so as compared to the Naturals in a store, it doesn't look as pretty. It's more of a plasticky look.
Yep.
It's fine. That's all I can really say about Trex Select. It's fine. They got some unique colors in there.
It's an okay... it's a good board. I like the board. I just don't love the colors. So I like that it's a full thickness board.
And I don't mind the colors.
So collectively, we think it's great then. Yeah. So I like that it isn't scalloped. I think that works really well on the stairs. I know that it's not like...
But even on stairs, I believe that Trex Select
thin.
is like install instructions, I think, say 8 inches on center on Select. So
that's whack.
It must not be adding a ton more strength by doing it in that profile than Basics, I guess. But anyway, it's a full thickness board. So if somebody wants that confidence of a full thickness board.
Right. So I like that. And then I like the Cortex is available for it. I think that's good. The cap is more durable than the Enhanced line.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Just a little bit, I would say, hey? It's not like a ton more durable, but it's a little bit...
It
seems to be a little bit more durable.
Yeah. I don't like the grain on it. That cathedral style.
Yeah, the embossing is very shallow and it's all cathedral, so it's like arrows. It all points one direction. So you got to be aware of that when you're installing it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'd honestly be surprised if it's still in their lineup 3 years from now. If I had, like,
Dr. Shane.
Okay.
That's how it goes. Yeah,
I don't know that we're giving this board a big vote of confidence here, but like I said, the colors are good if you're looking. But you know what? If you had a bluish house or a slate house, then Foggy Wharf's going to look really good too, right? Foggy Wharf's from clamshell.
Foggy Wharf and clamshell.
And that person before would have done Trex Pebble Gray with Trex Winchester Gray.
Yep.
So yeah, there's going to be some times where those colors really make sense. Maybe it's a commercial setting where they're not allowed to have scallop boards. They need a full thickness board. And maybe the colors of that really work with that restaurant or something. And it's like, they don't care if there's variegation or not. They just want something that doesn't require maintenance and the colors to work with whatever. But it is what it is. So check it out. And, at the same price point as Naturals, I think probably over time, Naturals is going to be the board that wins out in that case.
And so when you talk about boards stealing sales from other boards,
that must have happened.
That's happening. And if that's not happening, they're lying to you.
I'll say this. In our store, nobody walks in not knowing what they want and ends up with Select. Nobody.
Correct.
The only time Select sells anymore is when somebody comes in specifically looking for it because they've seen it somewhere or they're matching something or they've used it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you have Winchester Gray? That's the one I'm using.
Because I bought all my stuff at Lowe's.
Yeah.
And now I need one solid edge board and it takes 6 weeks to get it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it in stock. Come on over.
So nobody walks in, looks at 100 colors and is like, that's the one for me. Right? That doesn't really happen anymore. Nope. So that's, I guess, maybe
because they have better colors in
backing.
Similar price points.
Yeah.
So, okay, good. Now
we're on to the best.
Transcend.
Transcend is the bee's knees. This is Trex's highest end. This is their flagship line. It's been around a long time. It's been a great seller forever. It's the board that they've built their business on.
Yes.
Since it came out. So now we're talking about something that has fantastic durability. Really good durability.
Arguably the best in the industry.
It's really good. Yeah.
As far as a composite goes, like a wood plastic composite, I think it's the best.
I won't argue that. Yeah. Of all the brands that we're familiar with anyway.
Sure.
So super durable cap on it. You're getting a full thickness board, 1 inch thick. You've got 5 colors and 5 colors. So you've got your Trex Transcend Earth Tones, yep, which are the non-variegated solid color boards. And you've got the Trex Transcend Tropicals, which is the pretty stuff. The stuff you see in the magazines.
Yep.
The stuff everybody wants.
Yeah.
That's the really nice stuff. So both the lines, they're the same boards. Fit like the actual makeup of them. It's just the colors that are different. Same price point now.
When you use the words fit and finish, fit is the same. Finish is different. Just a blank stare.
Did I say fit and finish is the same?
No. You didn't say that. You were like, the boards are the same. And I was like, yeah, the fit and finish, but it's like the fit is the same in the earth tone.
Okay.
The finish, fit, same, finish, different.
Okay.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Now you're well versed in fit and finish.
So 5 colors in the earth tones, and they're all just like the solid color, like I mentioned, and they're kind of unique colors in a way. A lot of them, some of them, like especially gravel path and rope swing, which I think are 2 of the more popular ones in our market anyway, are cool, kind of like off color colors. You know what I mean? Like it's not a gravel path, not a pure gray. It's
right?
like
and he looked at me funny. Now he's off color. It's like, yeah, okay,
but off neutral colors. I guess like it's not.
Yeah.
Good looking colors is what I was trying to say. Unique a little bit. Sure. Then when you get into the Trex Transcend Tropicals, that's when you get the super streaky stuff. Now, Trex is known for their vibrant colors and their aggressive streaking.
Yeah.
And so anytime you put a Trex board up against somebody else's board, it always looks more colorful. The color is just deeper and richer, it seems, than almost anything else. And then the streaking on most of the boards is just a single color. On all the boards, just a single color, most of the time black. So you're going to get like a gray board with some black streaking, or like dark gray anyway.
Yep.
With the exception of Tiki Torch, which has like an orangey board with some burgundy-ish streaking, reddish streaking.
Red streaking in it, I think, right?
But it looks fantastic too. So if you're looking for something that is more durable and kind of really beautiful looking stuff and the strongest in the lineup, the strongest, most durable, and best looking stuff is the Trex Transcend Tropical line.
So do you think that they should have a different price point for the earth tones?
Yes. And they used to.
Why did they change that?
I don't know.
Like, they changed the embossing. I think that the new embossing is great.
Oh, yeah. They did change the embossing last year. Yeah.
On that line, right? Because earth tones used to have a different embossing than the tropicals.
Yep.
And so, but, like, I don't know, just because we used a different wheel, now it went up 30 cents a foot? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. It was obviously just a strategic move to make that whole line cost the same. But the tricky thing about that when we sell it is people ask, well, how come Enhanced Basic is more than Enhanced Naturals? And it's like, well, they're the same board, but the Naturals has the extra coloring. And, when you add the extra level pellets in there and stuff, it's another step in the process. And so therefore it costs more to manufacture. Okay, well, what about Gravel Path and Island Mist? Oh, yeah, they're the same price. But that one doesn't have any streaking. Yeah, good point, right? And so it kind of blows that whole.
But those pellets they're just as heavy. The dark gray pellets are just as heavy as the light gray pellets. So there's not an extra step in the really expensive, only in the cheap.
Yeah, I don't know why, because there used to be about a 5% difference in price between those lines. The non-solid one was cheaper up until last year. Last year, during the initial price increase over the winter, that usually happens with everybody, with all building products, they raised the price of the earth tones by 6% and the tropicals by 6% and the earth tones by 11% to make them end up at the same price point. And I don't know why, and I'm not sure that you'd ever get an answer from somebody to say why.
Maybe they thought they were leaving money on the table.
Probably. Because nobody was probably not...
Holy
figure that one out.
Smokes.
Figure that one out, hey?
Nobody was probably
Nobody
not.
was probably not. So, but nobody was choosing the earth tone line because it saved them money over the tropical line. It wasn't like, boy, I really love Island Mist, but I need to save a little bit of money, so I'm going to go Gravel Path. That wasn't happening. It was they either wanted the solid color or they didn't.
Sure.
And so it was probably more of just a strategic pricing shift to say, listen, it's not the price of that board is not influencing the decision, so why don't we just make the extra 5% on it?
Yeah, it likely isn't, right?
That's my guess.
And so it's also easier on a retailer point. It's easier. Transcends are like a Transcend board is this much.
Sure. Yep.
So
along with all these boards, you get a great warranty from Trex. And what's in a warranty? Well, we have a couple older episodes that what's in a warranty. If you want to learn more about that, look back into the podcast around the middle of the road. I would say maybe episode 40-ish, somewhere around there. We go in depth on all the warranties, but good brands of composite or maintenance-free decking are going to have at least a 25-year warranty.
Yep.
So start there. Make sure they have a 25-plus year warranty, and then you can know that you're probably looking at a good brand, and then get into the details of it a little bit. Because they're not all the same. 25 isn't necessarily good just because it's 25. You got to make sure it actually has, they cover the proper stuff. And I think
did you put a chart up at some point somewhere?
I did, but that's buried in our Instagram feed. So I don't know if I posted that or not, to be honest, but it's on that podcast. The information is on the podcast. So I guess what I'm trying to say, though, is that Trex has a great 25-year warranty and unlikely to run into issues with it. Now, we always, when we talk about Trex, get somebody who says, yeah, but I did a bunch of research and my aunt's cousin's brother's sister had a Trex deck and it fell apart and all this. And it's like, yes, there was problems with some first generation Trex stuff where they had some failures. It's not the stuff that they're selling today.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
they paid the piper.
To keep using the car analogy, GM's produced some duds in the past.
Hummer.
Cars
was a Hummer.
Really didn't
H1,
work well.
H2.
Doesn't mean they're all crap, right? They're making cars better now. Mm-hmm. So the issues that you might come across aren't the current generation of products. The current generation of products, we've been operating this business for 4 years. We were installing Trex before that. We've only ever had one issue with it, and it was a coloring issue between different factories. The dialots didn't match, and that's a problem that everybody that's ever manufactured anything has run into. It's not a mass thing. That happened once or twice. Right?
That happens in flooring and carpet and tile.
That just happens in manufactured goods. So has there been any failures? No. The warranty claims that we have seen have been on first generation product. That's now 12 or 15 years old.
Yeah.
and maybe starting to fall apart. So even the stuff that didn't work well was getting some, in many cases, was getting a lot of years out of it. And they're still warranting those issues.
Yes, they are.
So don't come at me, bro.
Holy.
With that nonsense. So, and there's contractors listening to this that have opinions about these different brands. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm just saying that Trex is a good brand. Don't be scared away by the stuff you might find deep on the internet. I mean, be scared of the stuff you find really deep on the internet.
Yeah, but that's a different, like you start that differently. It doesn't start www, right? It starts different to the scary stuff.
Yeah. So just know that the Trex brand, the Trex products that they're putting out nowadays are fantastic. They're great boards. Don't be scared away by something you might find deep on the internet. If you find something that you're wondering about, send us a message through YouTube, through Instagram, through whatever, and just ask us, like, is this legit? First of all, check the date on it. Because if it says 2007, then, you know, you're not living your life tomorrow based on 2007's news. So don't make your choices for your deck based on 2007 news.
Yep.
Shoot us a message and we'll help to try to clarify things for you. But
I would like to go back to the time before Trump said, drink cleaner to kill COVID. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Come on.
But
so listen,
a purely,
I'm like,
Wade,
not a fan. I'm not coming out saying I'm a fan of Trump, but it's like I've supported a lot of his decisions.
Let me ask you a few things.
But it's like he said that and was like, oh boy,
if you had
everything else
COVID-19 in your lungs,
yes,
would you want it dead?
Yes.
Does Lysol kill COVID-19?
99.9% of the time.
Okay, so is it not worth a shot?
But wouldn't you put it in a vape pen?
Do whatever.
Right?
Your kitchen counter doesn't care how you apply the Lysol. It just works.
Yeah. But you can't swallow it to get it in your lungs.
Colin from True Billers thinks that bleach would work better.
Yeah.
Like at least as effective. So, and whatever. People bleach their teeth and bleach their hair. Why can't you bleach your lungs? Listen, Trump's just trying to help.
He should close the state of New York. Just like,
he should close the door to his bedroom for a little bit and just like go in there and play some Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Bam! Hey?
Mike Tyson's Punch Out's awesome.
So,
wait, did I see this that it was like Mike Tyson was never actually named on that?
No, that's what I thought. That was the whole thing. But Bryce blew me up on that.
Did we talk about that last week?
If you watch our latest episode of the Ultimate Deck Show on YouTube, this gets brought up and he pops up the game cartridge and it actually says Mike Tyson's on it. And when we were kids, that was like a thing. It was like, it doesn't say Mike Tyson's even though everybody calls him Mike Tyson. I swear that was a thing.
Fact check.
I'm going to look this up.
You gotta hate when you get fact checked.
I'm not giving up on this. It's not over. I'm going to find
what?
That
How is this not over?
Because there's two versions of the game.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The one with and the one without. Somebody photoshopped that image. Bryce photoshopped that image.
I don't think he's good with Photoshop.
Like I would have put money on that. I would have put money saying like, nope, Mike Tyson's name is not in the game. It was a thing back then. Everybody knew it was Mike Tyson, but he was not associated with the game. I would have put money on that. So whatever, I've been proven wrong. Yeah, know that Trex is a good brand, great warranty. They do provide a labor warranty. If you have it installed by a Trex Pro, you get a couple years of labor warranty.
That's good. I support that.
What else is there to be said about it? They do sell matching railing with it, with some matching colors that are matched to the Earth Tones Transcend line.
Yep. We don't move a lot of that stuff, right? Like the Trex railing is a lot more popular in the US.
We did last year, yeah.
Yeah, we did okay.
Like relatively we did last year, yeah. Relative to previous years.
Correct.
But still a drop in the bucket compared to aluminum systems. But they also have an aluminum system now.
That's
aluminium
correct.
system.
No, it's just aluminum now. We're not in Australia.
Aluminium systemium.
Yeah, exactly. So they have everything. Like Trex has everything. A lot of it is private labeled.
Deck Dog says moonshine might work, and that might be worth giving a shot.
Send me some. Just in case I get it.
Yeah, a lot of their other products are licensed. So their furniture, their kitchens, their pergolas, their water and fireball features, like all those things are not manufactured by Trex per se, but they're private labeled. They have the Trex licensing on them, and they're manufactured by somebody else. And so
they're taking care of the whole area, right? It's like,
but there's some decking manufacturers that don't manufacture their own decking.
That's true,
right? Like at least Trex manufactures their decking
in a couple of places.
3 now, I think.
Yeah,
they opened that third plant.
Yep. Crushing it.
Oh
yeah.
You're right. I don't know where this comes from.
Yeah.
Hey, can we do a shout out for Windeck? I'm wearing their hat right now.
Oh, I read that as Lid. I was like, she's so hip.
Oh no, you did that exchange in your head.
Yeah.
So you should maybe get her an Ultimate Deck Shop hat.
She has one.
Oh,
she picks the Windeck one because it's got that leather badge on it. She likes that more.
Okay. So we need some leather badge ones.
Yep.
That's it for me, man. We've talked Trex. It's a good brand. One of the 5 that we have confidence to carry in our store.
Yeah. One of my
Sell
favorite.
lots of it.
One of my favorite parts about it was that when the boards did break down, they paid the piper, and they did like they just put some money aside. And if you had a Trex deck that failed or that like it delaminated or whatever, they were like, you know what, our bad. Here's some money. Replace your deck.
Yep.
And so that takes some stones. Lots of guys just fold up shop, be like,
well, and that's
bankruptcy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
now we're Trex with 2 X's.
Yeah. What good is any board if the people that make it don't stand behind it? Like I have a 1,000,000-year warranty. Yeah, but if you aren't there when I call and you don't like just approve it, because we've seen some or heard some stories from other deck brands, not the big ones that we stock, but some other brands that people would be familiar with, that it's like you got to fight tooth and nail to get any sort of warranty on something that very clearly should be warranted.
Yeah.
And you got to go through so many hoops and whatever to get through that. So not the case with Trex most of the time. So that's it. Again, tune into our YouTube channel because we're putting all sorts of stuff on there. The Ultimate Deck Show is on there. Now, I got to clear this up too. The Ultimate Deck Show and the Ultimate Deck Podcast are not the same thing.
Really?
Over and over again, people are like, I love your show, love your podcast. They're talking about one or the other. And it's like, you're not listening to both.
We were out there loading up Chris's deck package. And I said to him, I was like, okay, man, I got to go record a podcast. And he was like, yeah, I watch those every once in a while.
Yeah.
So like, that's you don't watch a podcast, but
Jordan, who I don't know if he listens to this because he says he watches it all the time too. Yeah. So Jordan from Tega, our Tega rep, one of our lumber distributor reps, says the same thing. He's like, I just watched your podcast the other day. And this was before we were putting the podcast up. So he wasn't watching that. He was watching the show. But a lot of people think they're the same thing. I'm guessing a lot of people think we record the show and then put the audio on as a podcast. That's not what's happening. These are 2 completely separate things. Different topics, different days, different everything.
I wear
Some of the
different
topics
shirts
are familiar.
Too. I wear different shirts mostly.
Yep.
So I used to wear green shirts on
just
the podcast.
because you've listened to this episode doesn't mean you shouldn't go watch the show. You should go watch the show. And our last episode was straight fire. Am I right? Episode 17?
I think you were drunk.
17.
Yeah. I don't
go watch episode 17 because it was pretty good. It was the best episode ever.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was a good one. And we do have a Trex episode up there too. Episode 14 or 15 is a Trex 2020 lineup. So if you want to see these actual lines and look at the colors.
Maybe we could shoot it again.
No.
Are you sure? We got ceiling tiles in now. Maybe you want to shoot it one more time.
Yeah. So go check out the YouTube channel.
We shot it 3 times, guys. That's why I'm so angry.
Well, we were just trying to feel things out. We got a good setup now. Check out the Ultimate Deck YouTube channel for the Ultimate Deck Show, the Ultimate Deck, Deck Shop Shorts, which is the short form version of that essentially. And what else we got going on there? We post the podcast on there. If you want to see the video of this thing happening, that's also there. And then we got some other stuff that we got to get on. We got to get on this other stuff. We got 2 other shows or series. Is
that happening this week?
That we're going to happen.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to get that going soon. So subscribe to us. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it as always. If you have any questions, hit us up on Instagram through the DMs because
that's where we are.
Getting in your DMs.
Slide into the DM.
You betcha. Take care. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Brought to you by the Ultimate Deck Shop. Shop with us at www.ultimatedeckshop.com or check us out at all the social networks we can keep up with. Hit us up for any collaboration or sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.